The other,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay. You had a comment there.
Yeah,
Go.
just a little history. I don't think there's anybody that doesn't want water, and everybody's worked hard for it. The problem that we all look at is we want it right for everybody. I think it was all, a lot of people could get a hint from what they saw in the paper last week from the EMS discussions. The city gives the townships, not just us, but none of us, any credit whatsoever. They think they supply us, they think they back us up, they look at us as a lower class citizen. That's the way I look at it, and that's the way I wrote as I did. The $100,000 initially came later in many of the agreements, and regardless, Danny, what Ball told you or anybody else, and he can come here and I'll debate him all night, we originally were looking at 2 water districts. The city threw in the 3rd district.
Right.
The committee at that time, my recollection was, we accepted that 3rd district. We all agreed. That was one of our shake hands deals. The next agreement that came back was when the $100,000 came into the contract. We, as a negotiating committee, did not initiate that $100,000. That came into it. While at the time we still talked about it, as negotiations ended, we were even considering paring that back, reducing it to $50,000 or $25,000, or getting rid of it altogether. So the city initiated the $100,000.
You didn't propose that? In
No,
the meeting?
sir. No. That was I mean, at the time, Gary explained all this little pipe, and it had to be changed, and it wasn't any good, and they were having problems up there. I mean, if you think logically, our committee wouldn't have said, hey, let's just give you $100,000 to take care of this. I mean, that was something they threw out. My recollection was, it was kind of a shock to us, because not only did that tie our hands, it's going to tie your hands, if you agree to it, to the people that want water. Mo Shattuck's been here several times. He wants to work with the township on water. He isn't going to get it. He isn't going to get it till you do the $100,000 up in that area up there, okay? The United deal, while that might have been thrown out, and why we did keep the double rates, and you're absolutely right, the double rates was all the way through our, at least when I ended negotiations. But the United deal really threw out, you need a formula. What is that rate? What is the city basing that double rate on? And I think you'll find that language will stick. You need a formula. Because you may find the formula is 2 1/4. And you tack your 25% on it, and it just, people aren't going to be able to afford it. You may find the rate's 1.1. So the United deal brought out the whole thing on double rates, arbitrarily charging them, get a formula, let them show you a formula.
And that's when,
And
go ahead. Well, that's when they also then said, right, prior to Oneida, they had talked about cost of delivery rates. Then the courts reaffirmed the cost of delivery rates as long as it was reasonable.
But you don't know what that cost of delivery rate is.
And actually, when you consider this,
I have the
they're
floor.
already delivering water to our house.
I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No, you're fine. You're fine. And the last thing that really jumped out at me, I mean, it didn't while during all our negotiations, and it's something I think Judy hit on, but is absolutely important. Yeah, they're trying to square up their boundaries, and they're looking down the road. But as you all know, you can't force people to hook up to water.
Right.
That's in agreement, right?
We've never ever taken that out.
What if your industrial park people say no, and you sign this? You lose everybody. Or you're going to put in another system just for them. So, as Jane was speaking, it really behooves that you get them on board. All of them. So they don't come back and you get all 12 out of 13 of them say, yeah, we want it. And that 13th one says, I'm happy with the Owosso Township water. I don't want double rates. Anyway, talk to me.
Good comment.